everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Christina, owner of SheLoves the Journey. Today I want to talk about a topic that is very dear to my heart. All topics are very dear to my heart, but today I want to talk about this topic. It's a topic about loss and trauma. Let's talk about it. So back in 2020, I went through something I think that's traumatic for me. I received the news at the time that left me completely devastated. I was previously married, and my ex at the time wanted a divorce. And I'm not gonna lie, the hurt from that, from hearing the words, that hurt deep. Like deep in a way that I never thought I realized I could feel. Because to me, it wasn't just a divorce, it was everything that came with it. Because of that time, all of my childhood traumas resurfaced at once. I was already dealing with them. But again, I was dealing with them. I didn't know how to even deal with them. But everything came at once. The fear of abandonment, fear of not being enough, fear of failure, fear of not being wanted. All of those were brought up, and it brought up everything ugly that I believed about myself. My self-esteem was bottom of the barrel. So at the time, I saw myself as the biggest failure. I was 28, my marriage failed, and I got married at 23. So I was fairly young. So I thought that was it for me, especially with social media telling you that, hey, after 30, you're no longer a valuable person. So I thought I would never find anyone again. I was terrified of being alone. That was the major thing for me. I was terrified of being alone. And in my head, I kept telling myself, everyone always leaves, but at the end of the day, I don't want to be by myself. I was with this person for a while. I left my mom's house, quickly met him about a year and a half later, and moved in with him. So I was never really by myself to figure out who I was. So I was a mess. And to make matters more complicated, we also had a child together. So now I was just not dealing with heartbreak. I was also dealing with identity. Because again, leaving my parents' house, my mom's house, I didn't know who I was. So I was dealing with identity, responsibility, and fear all at once. So you start hearing things, especially again with social media. People were saying having kids is, the end of your life. No one wants a divorced woman, especially a woman with kids. You're nearing 30, your life is over, and all of that madness they're spewing out online. So all of that, plus someone who was already dealing with trauma, you can begin to understand my mental health at the time. I didn't know who I was apart from being a wife and a mom. I was also a student. Those were my only identity. I identified as that, a wife and a mom. And during that time, if anybody would have asked, who are you? I would have said, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I go to school. That was my response. So when that broke, I broke with it. My identity broke because I didn't have anything else to stand on. I went into this marriage already with trauma that I never dealt with. I didn't even know what trauma was, okay? I was young. I had no idea how to navigate life properly. I wasn't taught how to navigate life properly. I was raised on what not to do. I didn't know how to heal, how to process things, how to process my emotions, how to discern. Everything was either black or white, what not to do, never what to do. I didn't have the greatest examples. I didn't have the greatest community because everybody was living in dysfunction themselves. So that trauma followed me into my marriage. And after everything exploded, marriage done, I ended up failing out of school later on because of all the stress. I sat there asking myself, who am I? I remember reading something that says, who are you? And I was like, I don't know. I don't even know who I am. So that's when I decided to go to therapy, because Lord knows I needed help. I needed something. I didn't have a support system to say I could call somebody. I could call my mom, or I could call an older person or a friend to be like, hey, I need help. I didn't trust anyone to even express that. Yeah, I expressed it to my best friends, but that was it. And it took a while for me to actually express it. My brother caught me crying a bunch of times, and he came to me. He's like, listen, I don't know what's wrong, but every time I look at you, I've caught you crying, and that don't sit right with me. So what's going on? At first I was like, oh, nothing, everything's fine, I'm just dealing with some stuff. I didn't even want to tell the man anything. So I eventually told him, but it took a lot of me to actually open my mouth and say something to somebody. And I was embarrassed to talk about it. I was embarrassed that I would be seen as a failure. I was embarrassed to ask for help. I didn't know how to ask for help because I wasn't raised to ask for help. I was told, don't trust a lot of people. Don't trust, and this and that. Don't trust. And honestly, I felt like my mother failed me because at that point, I blamed her. Because I didn't even want to be around the same community to me, because I thought, hey, that community allowed my childhood trauma to happen. So I wanted nothing to do with it. I'm also Haitian, so if you know, you know. I distanced myself from everything. I distanced myself from everybody, her friends. I stopped calling people. They were her friends, but you know, they occasionally called me and prayed with me and all that stuff. So I stopped showing up. I stopped engaging. I was angry. I was depressed. I was scared. And all of this happened during COVID. That's when COVID started. So imagine dealing with all of this internally, and then the entire world just went up in flames and you're in the middle of a mess. So I didn't know what to do. I decided to look for churches. That was the only thing. I thought, hey, maybe if I found a church, I could feel better. Maybe if I try to seek God, maybe God can help me through this, because I just didn't know where else to go. I remember searching through searches in my area and trying to find somewhere I felt like I belonged. And honestly, I couldn't find it. I went through many. There was one church that I found that I thought maybe was it, but it left me completely disappointed. Especially with that church, they offered counseling services. And I thought, hey, I could call them and ask them about counseling services, because at the time we were trying to figure out what we're doing. We're trying to figure out where's everything was going. So I remember, okay, I need to step out of my comfort zone and ask for help, because that's not me. Asking for help was a huge thing. So I call and ask, and I thought, okay, maybe this is a step. I called, left a voicemail. I remember doing that voicemail. I was crying. I left the voicemail in tears. They never called me back. And I remember feeling so angry, because I thought, hey, you ask for help. People say go to therapy, and you ask for help, and crickets. There's no one there. And I remember feeling so angry and sad about it that I'm like, I don't understand. You reach out to people, you reach out, and no one's there to actually help you. And at that moment, I just felt doors closing. There's nothing I could do. I was just in that mindset of deep negativity. But something in me said, just keep searching. So I was on pilot mode, honestly. And because of that trauma, a lot of things I didn't remember until recently. They started coming back to me. Trauma plays a lot. So I found the church. In the very beginning of the church, it was great. That specific church when I went to, we've gone to church and the ushers just, say hi to you, bring you in, and you sit down in the very back, and you sit, listen to sermon. And as soon as they're done, you run out, because you don't want to talk to anybody. You don't want to be bothered. But that specific church, it was different because I felt welcomed. I felt the love. I felt, okay, I genuinely felt it. They actually called me at the end of service. The pastor called me himself to talk to me. I didn't get that a lot. So I felt the shift. I felt, okay, maybe I keep going, observe, try to take it all in. because I needed community. I needed something. I don't know what I was looking for, but I needed something healthy around me. I needed to get out of my head. I didn't want to listen to songs, to sad music. I didn't know what I was looking for, but I was like, I needed something. So I kept going to a church. Eventually, I went on to speak to the pastor's wife because I was interested in joining the worship team and joining the women's group and seeing what else is there, because I wanted to get into something. I'll never forget this. When the first time that I spoke to her, she looked at me and asked me, "So, how are you?" You know what? When people ask you, "How are you?" they're just looking for a superficial answer. Just, "Hey, I'm good." But she literally looked at me, because at first I was like, "Oh, I'm good." She's like, "No. How are you?" I broke down. I was in tears. I completely broke down. Again, to me, it felt genuine. It felt like she saw me. So I let everything out. I told her everything that was going on. I told her everything that I've been holding in. And it shocked me because I don't trust people. And I told her, I'm like, I don't know why I told you all this. I don't talk to people. I don't trust myself to trust somebody to tell them something about me, especially something so vulnerable. But I felt safe at the time. And you know what's crazy? Months later, that same church called me back. And they called me to ask me, "Oh, we received your voicemail. Do you still need services?" Seriously, many, many months later. And I never returned a call because I was like, I was over it. I just didn't want to. But at the time, I was feeling a bit better. Things were already at that point. We were already done. We made decisions, so there was no point for me to call them back, and I just wanted counseling for myself. So I just went and did that. So this situation also showed me something, because when people talk about church hurt, I've had many different church hurts, but this one was more vulnerable to me. It hurt more because it was a situation that I'm literally reaching out and asking for help. And it's easy to get hurt by people, even in the church. And that's what made me realize that sometimes we make decisions about God based on how people treated us. And it's real. Church hurt is real. To me, that was my church hurt. And I was already broken, so that made an impact. But I'm grateful that I didn't stop searching. I'm grateful that I kept searching because I knew I needed something. God still met me where I was at. Even through imperfect people, He showed me something and pushed me to find something else. And slowly, I started learning about God. Like, I already knew about God. I was raised in the church. I was raised with a mother who made me memorize Bible verses, who we went to church 4 days out of the week and on Sundays. So it was living, breathing church, going to school, church, l'église la caille, that's what we called it. It was school, home, and church. Nowhere else. I had nothing else to do except for church. So I already knew about God, but I didn't know about God. I knew of Him. I knew my Bible verses. I've read the Bible from page cover to cover, but no one ever really sat down and explained. Everything was mainly based on what the pastor wanted to preach at the time, whatever gossip was going on at the time, and whatever they feel like preaching at the time. And I was a child, so I was a teenager. I didn't listen to any of that mess. But learning about Him, it wasn't just hearing about Him, but learning Him, hearing who He is. Around that same time, I found the Bible Recap by Tara Lee Cobble. And it's on Spotify, by the way, and the Bible app, so check it out. We landed on Job, the book of Job. Now, growing up, again, I've heard all the stories. I've heard Job's stories told the same exact way. God took everything from him. Job stayed faithful, and God gave everything back. So it was always presented very simplified, always in a way that was glamorized. But reading it myself, I finally understood it. I had to translate it. I actually went back and read it in Creole and French again, to understand what I was reading. It started making more sense to me that Job questioned God. And that's when it hit me. I was questioning God too, because I was asking God, why? Why all this pain? Why did you make me go through all that childhood trauma? And I'm thinking that I was done with that life. I left it behind. I'm now an adult. I'm not in my mother's home anymore. I'm free. And all this pain, all this came back. Why did I have to go through all of this just to fail now? Why couldn't I just be happy? And I kept reading. And when I read God's response, his response literally humbled me. Because sometimes when we go through things, sometimes we think like that we're entitled to happiness, that we're entitled, that we're being punished, that it's being taken away from us. And Job 38:4, God says, where were you when I laid earth foundation? Because God wasn't being harsh, but he was reminding Job that, it was also reminding me that we don't see everything for what it is. We're leaning to our own brain. We don't understand everything. And Job's response in chapter 42 was like, I spoke of things I did not understand after God humbled him. And I was like, you know what? You're right. I didn't understand everything. Even in therapy, the therapist was like, we don't understand things happening. Asking why isn't the question. The question is, what is this teaching me? Because trying to ask why is just going to make you crazy. You will never understand whys. You will never understand the reason why somebody does certain things. And learning that is really important, because I've learned that God doesn't allow suffering because he hates us. He's punishing us. We live in a fallen world. Because of Adam and Eve's sin, we live in that world because of sin, and Satan uses that sin against us, especially when he sees a potential. But God uses that sin for his glory. Romans 8:28 says, he works all things together for good. And we were created for his glory. That changed my perspective, honestly. And I also helped me realize that I rooted my entire identity in my marriage, in my titles. So when that broke, everything hit me to the core. God removed something that I turned into idols without realizing it. And I can say this, sometimes God takes something away from you because he's seeing that it's taking you into the wrong direction. It's taking you down the wrong path. And he said, maybe it's time for me to take that away. Maybe I may bring it back later, but he needs to take that away from you so you can clearly see the bigger picture. Even school was my title because it was make it or break it. I needed to pass. I needed to graduate. And if I didn't graduate, that was it. That was the end of the world for me. And with all of that, I remember telling myself after I had my daughter that I don't want to become a mother. I don't want to become her. I don't want to be bitter. I don't want to be angry. We're going through a lot of stuff through our marriage. And I asked God, I don't know what to do. I'm scared, but I need help. It was a silent prayer because I would say those prayers in my heart, not really meaning, I guess to me, it was just in my heart. I didn't think anything of it. I just thought, I need something. I need help. I don't want to be my mother. It was a silent prayer. I didn't know how to change, but I was asking God to help me. He answered that prayer in a way that I didn't expect. I needed him to rescue my marriage. I needed him to, because I told myself I have to climb up the mountains. Like that girl in that movie, if I had to climb up the mountain to save my marriage, I need to do it. I need you to save my marriage. And when he didn't save the marriage, I was angry. He answered that prayer, just not in a way that I expected. He gave me the release. A release at the time I didn't understand. And again, I was angry. I was extremely angry. I was angry at myself, especially at myself. Angry that I did ignore the red flags. And you know what's crazy? I didn't even know what red flags was. I didn't even know what they were. I was angry at my ex, angry at my mom, angry at everybody, angry at everything. And that anger started showing up in ways that scared me, because it showed up as being impatient with my daughter, being short-tempered. She was just a toddler at the time. That scared me enough to push me back into therapy and ask the therapist, okay, I got other things going on. It's not just a divorce. I got other things that I need to work out to really unpack everything, to really unpack my childhood traumas. And the one thing the therapist said a lot, but the one thing that the therapist had told me that changed everything, that made me look at things different lens, was you need to forgive yourself first, not just forgive everybody else. Because the Bible says, God says, we need to forgive the person. It's not for them, but it's for you, to release them from your heart. And I thought, okay, I forgot, I forgive them. But she said, what about you? Did you forgive yourself? And in the name of holding yourself accountable, sometimes you forget that you have to forgive yourself. Because we're trying so hard to be accountable for our actions, to hold ourselves, up to that standard that I should have known better. I should have done better. And she said, shoulda, coulda, woulda. I thought she was insensitive at first. I thought, lady, you don't understand my pain. But she was right. Forgive yourself for working with the knowledge you had at the time. You need to forgive yourself. You only knew what you knew. And what you knew, you went with it. You didn't go into something and expect it to fail. You don't go into things expecting it to fail. You go into things with the thought, with the hopes that it's going to survive, is going to succeed. So when it doesn't succeed, you immediately think, oh, I'm a failure. And when she said that divorce is not a failure, we've been told so many things. Social media is telling you this. Social media is saying that. People are telling you this. It's not a failure. It maybe it's a wake-up call to somebody. But it came with the hardest part, to forgive yourself. I had learned to forgive myself. I learned to also forgive my mother. She's now has Alzheimer's. And I graduated last year, and that hit me a lot harder because I told her about it, but she wasn't really there mentally to actually take it in. Because I was doing all the things, trying to graduate, to show her, hey, I'm the good daughter. I graduated. I got married. I got the kid. I graduated. I'm good, But I finally did it on my own terms. I even switched majors because I wanted to do something I wanted to do. I wanted to rebel. I did it on my own terms, and I was proud of myself, proud of that accomplishment. But seeing that she wasn't there to actually see it and see me, that broke me again. And I had to relearn again. Okay, I need to keep forgiving. Not just, oh, I forgive, to keep working on that forgiveness. Now, my prayer is not just forgiveness, it's different. And now I was asking God to rewrite my nervous system. So every time I think about these things, every time I think about the hurts, the past everything, to reroute my nervous system, to calm my nervous system down. Because remember, we are girlies with big emotions. God says in Hebrews 13:5 that I will never leave nor forsake you. People will fail you. Churches will fail you. But God won't. He will meet you where you are at. Through all of this, I graduated. I got remarried. This time, I knew better. This time, do we always knew better? But I knew this time that I needed to ask God. I needed Him to take the wheel. For real. And I listened. And I've learned this, that we don't have as much control as we think we do. We think we do, but we don't. Some people call it fate, but as a believer, it's not fate. If you let God lead, He will. And something happens because of us, because of our own disobedience, because we don't listen, because we just don't know. Some things happen to teach us. And some of us, we go through what we go through because we are called to help others. That's another hard pill to swallow. We are called to be interceders, prayer warriors for other people, encouragers. 2 Corinthians 1:3 says, He comforts us so we can comfort others. That's why some of us feel things so deeply. That's why we're not weak. We are called. And I just want to say this: grief, trauma, loss, all of those things are hard. But God didn't leave me in it to drown. He picked me up from there. And what God has for you, no one can take that away. What He closes, no one can open. And what He opens, no one can close. What's for you is going to be for you. What's meant for you is going to find you. No matter what it is, no matter setbacks, anything you've gone through, what's for you is going to find you. As long as you have the hope and belief that God got you. He has the wheel. Let Him take over that wheel. Don't say, God, take the wheel, and scooch in to try to take over. Because He's just going to let you take over. And He's going to let you make those mistakes. Then you're going to come back crying, well, why? And He's going to look at you as, well, now you know. You should have let me do it. So that was a learning experience for me. I'm still learning. So if this resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video, friends.